Is this the end of the Battle of Mariupol? Ukrainian brothers in arms, arms now raised, in footage broadcast by Russian state TV today. Moscow says this is the surrender of over 1,000 Ukrainian Marines. We can't confirm when this was filmed or verify its authenticity. And Ukraine's defense ministry said it had no information about this supposed surrender. But Kyiv has also been parading its own captives. Ukrainian Viktor Medvedchuk, a pro-Russian politician who fled house arrest and was caught disguising himself as a Ukrainian soldier, in pictures Russia says are fake. Here he is in his usual attire in 2000, chatting with Vladimir Putin. Russia denies any links with Medvedchuk, but the US sanctioned him earlier this year for being a close ally. President Zelensky offered to exchange Medvedchuk with other captured Ukrainian soldiers. In his latest address, he warned of an endless bloodbath if more weapons didn't come his way.
Ukraine needs weapon supplies. We need heavy artillery, armed vehicles, air defense systems, and combat aircraft. Anything to repel Russian forces and stop their war crimes.
And here could be evidence of those alleged war crimes. What's left of an apartment block in Kharkiv, where inside a mother sits over her lifeless son in what's left of their home.
Мы выскочили, мы в последней комнате, мы выскочили на коридор. Я кричу: Сережа, выходи, он говорит, сейчас. Это когда первый взрыв был. Когда второй начался взрыв, я ему кричу: Серега, видите, вот все побито, все осколками побито. А говорю: Серега, тишина.
Such attacks, apparently deliberate attacks, on innocent people and civilian targets, such as homes, hospitals and schools, are part of a clear pattern of international humanitarian law violations by Russia. That's according to a report today from the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe.
Русский мир пришел защитить нас. Спасибо этому Путину.
And what's all the more shocking, the OSCE report takes in evidence from before the 1st of April, before the horror of Bucha, where today yet more bodies were uncovered. President Biden has called this a genocide. As more horror stories emerge from the occupation, this is forcing other neighbours of Russia to radically rethink their security.
It is a pleasure to meet with Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson here.
And so to Stockholm today, where the leaders of Finland and Sweden, once neutral nations, announced the possibility of joining NATO.
Of course, everything changed when Russia invaded Ukraine. I think people's mindset in Finland, also in Sweden, changed and shifted very dramatically because of Russia's actions. And this is very clear.
Volodymyr Zelensky today met the presidents of Poland, Estonia, Lithuania and Latvia, all of them members of NATO. And this is what they are all looking at. What's left of a nation, Ukraine, not a member of that alliance. A country that has managed just to withhold the first Russian onslaught, but which is bracing itself for the next battle in the east.
That report from Kieran Moodley. Well, our chief correspondent Alex Thompson is in Poltava in central Ukraine now. Alex.
Yes, let's talk a little bit more about Mariupol, shall we? The president of Ukraine, President Zelensky, described it today in the following terms. He said, "This is the beating heart of this war. If that heart stops beating, we are weaker." Well, on that, Russia would certainly agree. If it falls, and perhaps it's when now, this would be a major, major psychological boost to Russia. Don't forget, Vladimir Putin has said he wants to announce victory, whatever that means, by that May the 9th parade in Moscow. And this would be, don't forget, the first time Russia in this entire war has actually seized by force any major urban centre whatsoever, which is quite a thing when you think about it. So a huge boost should it fall. Economically, it matters a great deal to the Ukrainian economy. It's a major port exporting iron, steel, grain and so forth out into the Black Sea. And then there is the Azovstal steelworks. This dominates the eastern side of the town. It's a vast jungle of furnaces, workshops, pipe and so forth. And it's in this area, remarkably, that the last few fighters are believed to be holed up and still fighting to keep this city in Ukrainian hands tonight. That all goes 60,000 jobs, and a vast sector, an important sector of the Ukrainian economy, goes straight into Russian hands. Wider frame, strategically, Russia gets this land bridge from Crimea right across from the southwest, across the southern Black Sea and up past Mariupol into the eastern provinces, Luhansk and Donetsk. And that is what this war is all about, says the Russian dictator. Back to you.
Thanks very much. Well, for much more about Finland and how the war in Ukraine has been affecting opinion in Helsinki about joining NATO, listen to the latest episode of our podcast, The Forecast, available via our website or by searching The Forecast on all good podcasting apps. Well, in towns and villages around Kyiv, they are burying their dead. In the small village of Motizhin, west of Kyiv, the whole village turned out for the funeral of the Sukhenko family. The mayor, her husband and her son were all murdered by Russian soldiers after they chose to stay to protect the people of their village. Our international editor, Lindsay Hilson, reports.
Too many funerals in Ukraine these days, too many bereaved families, too many people like the Sukhenkos, mother, father and son, murdered by the Russian soldiers who occupied their village west of Kyiv.
Я відчула, що світло погасло в моєму житті, розумієте? Я відчула, що начебто немає сенсу, начебто все закінчилось, і я одна в цьому світі. Нікого немає поряд того.
The old are overcome with grief, mourning the next generation, and the young see their hopes and dreams buried with those they loved.
Все напоминает об этой прекрасной семье. Это были честные, светлые, добрые люди, которые не заслуживают вот так вот со связанными руками быть убитыми и выкинуты где-то в какой-то яме зарыты.
Olya Sukhenko was the mayor of Motizhin, assisted by her husband Igor and their 25-year-old son Sasha. Villagers say they were tortured and killed. Everyone turned out for the funeral because this family laid down their lives for the community. As Russian soldiers terrorized the people, the Sukhenkos organized convoys to evacuate the elderly and vulnerable. They brought food to those who couldn't get out. And the Russians believe that they provided information to the Ukrainian army. Home video of Sasha as a kid, playing with his dad, annoying his older sister Olena, getting a football trophy, dancing with his mum. He felt he should help his mother, so refused to leave the village with his girlfriend. When the Russians came to take away his parents, he called her.
Пару раз Саша сказала, что пихнули его в грудь. И говорили очень жестко, с матами, естественно. Но они их не боялись. Тогда я сказала ему о том, что нужно срочно уезжать. Это уже известочка о том, что вам нужно ехать, пожалуйста. На что Саша ответил: да нет, все будет в порядке. Они знают, что мы тут, что мы ничего такого не сделали. Они, в принципе, уже знают всю информацию о нас. И все будет нормально.
But it wasn't fine.
Соседи видели, как их выводили с завязанными глазами со двора. Но Сашу они оставили и пообещали, что вернут родителей живыми. Они приехали, не привезли родителей, а забрали самого Сашу.
When the Ukrainian military pushed the Russians out of Motizhin at the beginning of April, they found the Sukhenkos buried in a shallow grave with another villager, just next to the Russian camp. It was then that Olena, Sasha's sister, who had been persuaded to leave the village, heard the terrible news.
2 квітня я дізналася, що моїх батьків вбили, закатували і закинули в братську могилу під лісом біля нашого села. Ну, далі моє світло в серці і в душі, і в всьому погасло. Чому прийшли до мами? Тому що мама староста села, тому що мама відповідальна особа, тому що мама до кінця українка, тому що вона була на своєму місці, захищала своє село, український народ.
One leader, one family, one village and an entire nation.
Я до сих пор, мабуть, в якомусь шоці, тому що я не знаю, де сили береться говорити про це. Але я не можу мовчати, я не маю права мовчати. Вони мене спасли не для того, щоб я десь ховалась, а для того, щоб я не мовчала, для того, щоб я говорила правду. І вони б хотіли, щоб я донесла те, що вони зробили для нашого села.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. When war comes, you never know who will be the bravest and whose destiny will be death.